All right, y'all are live.
All right, welcome in. First time, long time. I think that's probably the way to describe it. Campo and Joe streaming out a Friday morning show. We haven't done it in a while, but we are here fired up and ready to go, especially for the game tomorrow night. Joe C. from XL Primetime, that man right there, Coach Dave Campo. Coach, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. As you can see, with me leaving, all my stuff is off the wall. So I got a couple trophies behind me, but that's about it.
All right, so at least lean over a little bit so they can see what those look like, okay? Those look pretty sharp right there. There you go. Those are Lombardi trophies for the three Super Bowl winning teams that Coach was a part of. And just tell them real quick what we're talking about because you're moving back to Dallas. We're going to miss the hell out of you in Duval, but we're still going to be doing this show. It's just a matter of you having to pack up and hit that U-Haul headed west.
Yeah, it's mixed for me, Joe. You know that. I mean, I love the team we have at 1010XL, and obviously you've been great to me over the course of the time that I've been here. Kids and grandkids and great grandkids are calling. So we're going back to Dallas, and I'm going to do a few media things back there, but I'm definitely not giving up on the Jaguars. We're going to do this podcast, and also I'm hopeful I'll be on primetime on Fridays.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it'll be great. At the very least, you, like you said, you got a truckload of family in Texas that you need to be there with. And so that part is going to be great for you and for Kay and for your entire family. But then the Jaguar family, we are definitely waiting to see how things play out. And you're definitely going to be part of it every single Friday. That's for sure. So I'm loving it. All right. So as we set it up, I think, Coach, we kind of need to get into a couple of things here real quick. Just some thoughts and observations from practice, what we've seen so far, and then what we think we're going to see tomorrow night. I love the fact that Liam Cohen said everyone's going to play, and we'll get into that. But if you guys are watching us on the stream show, you want to jump in the comments section, definitely throw us a comment, an idea of what you're looking for. In Ozzy / Jake, both of the guys are producing our show today. They'll try and throw your comments up on the air and get into it. So, Coach, just start with what you've seen so far in training camp, and then we'll get to the game tomorrow night.
Well, first of all, I think we've talked about this a number of times. I love the energy of camp. There's no question that these guys are fighting, and there's no question there's competition in a bunch of positions, which lends itself to guys really scrambling in practice and fighting hard and, trying to do, show whatever they can do. There's so, the safety position, the offensive line position, the defensive tackle position. I mean, there's areas of this football team, the running backs. I mean, they've got 5 running backs that are all look pretty darn good. So, that's the thing that sticks out to me more than anything else. The other thing from a defensive standpoint, I don't see a lot of big mistakes. And that's something that we've had to clean up here over the course of the last years that I've been here. That's a positive in my opinion. And especially, obviously they're not showing everything in practice, but, it's a pretty intricate scheme, both offensively and defensively with this group. So, I don't see a lot of mistakes really on either side of the ball, but especially on defense where we need to clean things up.
Yeah, there have been so many fails on that side of the ball that led to big plays, the explosive plays that we always talk about. Those are the killers. We talk about sudden change, and those are turnovers if you can force them on defense, or sudden change when the scoreboard changes because a big play was given up. And so those things, assignment-wise, Coach, I feel like you were called Coach Camps, and now Coach Camp with Anthony Campanile here. You guys at least see that side of the ball the same, and you feel like his instruction right now may lead to a better football team on that side of the ball.
Well, I'm counting on that. I mean, there's a lot of guys that were here on a not a very good defense that are going to probably be starting at the beginning of the year for this team.
Right.
And so to me, the difference is going to be the coaching. I think the thing that I've enjoyed the most is I've had a couple of conversations with them. We were going to get together. That hasn't happened yet. Hopefully I'll do that before I leave.
Right.
Because a lot of the stuff they're doing, we did. We brought quarter coverage or, the 4 deep stuff into the league. So, watching them, I see them doing a lot of good things. And here's my feeling about Campanile. He's a young defensive coordinator, but he's really, had some mentors that are pretty darn good,
Right.
and different. Flores is a blitzer, and he came through to Flores on defense. And the old timer, I keep forgetting his name.
Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangio, and Vic Fangio is a conservative guy. So I think when you have the combination of those, I think what it brings out is you might be a little conservative initially, but when things aren't going exactly right, I'm sure their blitz package is good enough, and he's had the ability to learn when and where to do that, to put the pressure on the quarterback or to stop the run. There's a lot of run stopping blitzes as well. So, I feel really comfortable, and he has the personality that I believe players will follow him, as does Liam Cohen, in my opinion.
Right.
From what I've seen of him, that's an art in itself. It's not about what it's what they know, and whether or not they take to you and buy into you as a coach. And I think this group that they've got there, combination of old and young, I think that's a positive, and hopefully that's going to make the difference.
Yeah, I think playing free, knowing that you are armed with knowledge, that way you can play free and get to your spot, be where you need to be. And you need to describe a little bit about what we were watching the other day, the frustration of just seeing too many big plays for other teams against this defense. Now you're starting to see, like Dewey, the example you gave me. Dewey Wingard is standing back there. He might win the starting safety spot when it's all said and done because of aptitude and attitude, and he helped diffuse what looked like a couple of big scoring opportunities.
Well, I'll tell you this, and it's kind of, basically what I just said, but in a different way.
Right.
When I took the defensive coordinator's position in Dallas, the number one thing that I wanted to get accomplished was, let's be disciplined. Let's make sure that we don't beat ourselves. It's not all the great plays you make, it's all of the bad ones you avoid. So I think they've seen that with this football team, as I mentioned earlier. I think, they put some of the veterans out there, and obviously they're hoping that some of the younger players that might be a little more athletic overall will beat those guys out eventually. But they've got to clean the discipline up first and then let everything else take care of itself. And I think that's what they're doing. They got Murray back there at safety and Wingard right now. It's those two guys or Antonio Johnson and who's the Savage.
Yeah.
It's either or right now, and they're hoping that maybe the guys can not be out there at the end. But I think that is a big factor in making sure when we line up, we're going to know what the heck we're doing.
Right. It's a 3-way battle. It may even become a 4-way battle with Caleb Bransall just when he gets healthy and is back, because you like the look of him and what he can do. Eric Murray on more of a free versus a strong, and he definitely is locked in right now, it would seem. And this secondary as a whole, Coach, and I admitted to you that I fell for it last year thinking they were going to be a much better coverage unit. They weren't. They were terrible, Ronald Darby in particular. But this unit does look, they've broken up a lot of big play opportunities for this offense. I can think of Darnell Savage against Brian Thomas, Campbell against Hunter the other day. We're talking really, really good plays.
Well, the one thing you're not seeing is guys, and we've got some speed on offense now. You're not seeing guys outrun any of our guys.
Right.
Jerry and Jones can run.
Yeah.
Campbell can run. Those guys, that's a big difference. I think they've improved the speed of this football team overall, which I think is a plus. You can't coach speed. Mm-hmm. You can coach a lot of stuff, but if a guy can't run, he can't run. And he's not going to run faster than what you see. Now, there are some guys that run faster in a game than they do when they run a 40-yard dash. That's just, instincts and knowing when to turn and all those kind of things. But I'm excited because we really haven't seen guys get run by in this defense, and that's a plus.
Yeah, the speed that you definitely have harped on a bunch really over the last couple of years and coming through the draft this year, it looks like James Gladstone and company, they've identified guys that are big and can run fast. Caleb Branshaw moving from a nickel to more of a safety spot if he can do that from Tulane. We'll find out how healthy he is and what he can do. But I had a conversation with Darnell Savage the other day, and even though he's not one of their guys, Coach, it doesn't mean he can't be out there making plays. He certainly comes from that Campanile camp up in Green Bay going back a couple of seasons ago, and so there is knowledge. They didn't pay him the freight to come down here, but we'll find out whether he can still have a spot on this defense. All right, so let's get to things that you think you're going to be looking for tomorrow night against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, the first thing you want to see is execution. You want to make sure that your football team isn't out there flopping around with fumbles and offsides and all those kind of things, and also just the different groups. Making sure that it's fourth down and you don't have a guy not go out on the special teams when he's supposed to be out there. So that part of it, I think you want to see for sure. I really want to see, Pittsburgh's in a little different situation than we are. We have a new staff, new players, young players. We've got to find out who we have. And here's a point that I don't think people really realize either. With the lack of the numbers of times that you can put pads on in football today, a preseason game is one of those opportunities where the guys have the pads on and they're going full speed. Now, we may not have our first against all their first because they're in a different situation. They've been there. That's an established club over there at Pittsburgh. But you want to see the guys that go out there. I want to see whoever's out there, whether it's ETN or whether it's Bigsby or whatever, I want to see him running hard and getting in the right spots. I want to see the offensive line, and really probably from a starting standpoint, there's some guys on the offensive line that will play longer than Trevor Lawrence will, or, some of the guys that have been around. They've got to find out what they have there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, whether they're playing against a second string guy or not. They're all getting paid. They're all professional athletes. So, that's going to be a big thing for me is to see how they operate as a group and really some competition.
Yeah, I feel like Coach Cohen identified guys, and Gladstone too, identified guys that love the game, that came in here, that want to compete and play and be better. And Robert Hainsey was the guy that Liam Cohen mentioned that said, hey, we need to play. 2 new systems, brand new coordinator on both sides of the ball, and a brand new head coach. And so I love the idea that they're going to get out there and kind of identify things. But to the offensive line, and you've observed this, I have, a lot of 10-10 XLers have. They have played from last Friday night to the walkthrough yesterday, Coach. They have played Anton Harrison at right tackle and left tackle. They played Walker Little at left tackle and right tackle. They played Fred Johnson at both spots. They played Patrick McCary at both guard spots and at right tackle. They have moved Wyatt Milam all over the place. So you get the point, on and on and on. They are working with combinations right now to figure out who the best 5 are, and it's still up for grabs. I didn't even mention Udoka, who has an opportunity to win one of those either right guard or right tackle spots.
Well, some of that is what they believe is important, is having guys that are versatile, that can play a number of different positions. Because, listen, Slater, or whatever his name is, the offensive lineman from the Chargers.
Yeah, Rashawn Slater.
They put $114 million on him, and he got hurt in practice. So
his patellar tendon.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know when you're going to get an injury, so you want guys that are versatile, that can play a number of positions. But I also think it's the competition, because you look at Macari, that's a great example. I think there was no doubt in anybody's mind that he was going to be a starter at guard. He was going to be one of the starting guards. Okay.
Yeah.
He gets banged up a little bit. He's not out there for a while. What happens? Adoga comes in, and right now it's Adoga or Makari at guard. It's the competition situation is strong in so many positions that, hey, let's see what happens in this preseason game. Let's see who wins the job. And I think that's through the whole ball club. I think there's very few guys that can just go out there and say, okay, I'm the starter. That's it. Right. You better do it every single snap and every time you go out there. So I'm looking for that in the preseason game as much as anything.
Yeah, and I'll use another example of how I think Coach Cohen is pushing buttons and trying to identify leaders and get more out of the guys. You know how important practice is. Leon, when we talk on the show on XL Primetime, he dang sure knows how important practice is. And Liam Cohen basically said, offense, you got your ass kicked 2 days ago. What are you going to do about it? You going to come out and basically continue to let them beat you one-on-one? No, we need more out of you. And he said these one-on-one situations, we need to win those more than we lose those. And I love it because he's not pushing buttons. He's making guys accountable. And he said that to the offense midweek, coach, and they came out and they had a hell of a practice.
And I loved it that he said it to the media as well.
Yeah.
He said, someone asked him, I think, Rock said to him, he said to him, you had a rough day on Tuesday, or I think it was Tuesday. And he said, do you expect guys, you have guys that kind of bow up on that said something, the players get together because you really rallied the next day. And he said, or did the coaches do it? And he came right out and said, listen, I let them know what they have to do. And so, there's no question that he's in charge over there. And, they better do what they're supposed to do, or else I don't think he's going to fool around. I think if one of those guys out there is a veteran and he's not doing what he's supposed to do, he's not going to be afraid to take, and I'm going to throw out Ransall. He's not going to be afraid if Ransall is ready to go. He's not going to be afraid to throw the guy out there because he said he wants development, and the way you develop is playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. And you may lose early, but you're trying to identify a winner over time that you think can be a big part of this football team. All right, you guys jump in. If you're watching the stream, you want to throw a comment our way, we would love it. David has jumped in. He said, just talking about tomorrow night and what to look forward to going forward this year. Let's go out there and dominate, man. Look sharp, maintain that energy throughout the season and make everyone remember the day they played the Jacksonville Jaguars. I love that energy. And it needs to get back to that, Coach. When you were coaching on the defensive side here under Jack Del Rio, that was a feared defensive unit. People knew who the Jaguars were on defense. And let's just hope that Hines Allen, Trayvon, you can go down the list of the other guys that make Jordan Lewis that have identified themselves as playmakers can turn this defense up a big notch this year.
Well, one of the concerns I have, obviously, is with the two inside tackles, because when you say we had a feared defense in Jacksonville back in the day, it was Henderson and Stroud, that made that happen. So I think that's important. Unfortunately, a couple of guys they were counting on, are not out there, Armstead and Mason Smith. But I think Hamilton and Foster and Jefferson are starting to come on a little bit. I really kind of like what they're doing. I think they've been okay. Well, that's the nose position, but the other position, I don't know what they have right now. So that is one thing that's a concern. I think Lewis, the nickel, he may be good enough to start outside and move inside to nickel. When it goes to third down, that's difficult for me. Because nickel's such a specialized position, but they've had him out there. And if he's a guy that is in the right spot and he's a heck of a football player, he may be one of the top 2 or 3 nickels in the league, period.
Yeah.
So those kind of guys, that's going to be a big factor. Who is that guy opposite Campbell? Is he going to stay healthy? I know Wingard will hit you. I know Murray will hit you.
Yeah.
So those two guys, those are the guys you have to fear. We had Donovan Darius back in the day.
Gosh, yeah.
So when you got to have some of those guys, and I think they've got a chance to have that, and that's going to be important if they're going to be better.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Jarian Jones earlier this week, and I liked what he said because I believe in me. And he wants to own that outside spot. He said last year was the first year he didn't play outside. He's played it his whole life, so that's what he's looking to do. He wants to lock it up. But like you said, they're going to experiment and see. And Jordan Lewis has proven that he's come in as a well-paid free agent, but they want him to come in and be a leader on that side of the ball. And we'll see where it goes. But
Jurian, Jurian, let me just say this. Jurian is the kind of guy that I love and they love. Yeah. And he has had an outstanding camp. I'm not saying that, Lewis might beat him out. All I know is if he keeps going, he's going to be fine at that spot.
Yeah. And so those guys, we're going to look and see where they end up depth chart wise, who's ready to compete. So you got the offensive line, you got the secondary, the safety position in particular, Dewey, Antonio Johnson, Darnell Savage, Caleb Ransaw, who's injured right now, but they all will factor in when Ransaw is healthy and gets back. The other three are competing. Antonio Johnson needs to look. You watch him practice. He is a big stallion-looking son of a gun. He can, if he could just figure out where to be at the right time, he could make some plays for this football team.
Tom McManus. We all know Tom McManus.
Yeah.
Great middle linebacker for the Jaguars back when they were good.
Yeah.
Said it best, in my opinion. You want your best athletes out there. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But there are some guys that play because they don't have to be great. They just have to be good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed in Antonio Johnson. There's no reason that he shouldn't be a starting safety here.
Yeah.
Because he's got all the attributes, except is he the guy? Is he the guy that can get out there, not make any mistakes, get where he's supposed to be, and make plays?
Yeah.
We just haven't seen that, unfortunately. So he's going to be competing. I'm hoping that he beats somebody out because he's the better athlete, and we'll see there.
Right. It honestly, I keep saying it, and I believe it firmly. I always go with the AAA for the quarterback, which is aptitude, attitude, accuracy / arm strength, but aptitude and attitude are for every player.
Absolutely.
Every player.
And you can add availability.
That's very true. Yeah, that's another good A, because Dewey Wingard has the attitude and the aptitude to understand where he's at. We need to see if Antonio can do that. Darnell Savage has done it, but he needs to do it more consistently.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I heard an interview yesterday, and I don't even remember who it was, actually. I'm getting old, but I know this. The point was made that a year ago, they were mostly man.
Yeah, that was Jarian in my interview.
It was Jarian. It was your interview. Yeah, it was Jarian. He said, we were mostly man, okay? Yeah. Well, when you're mostly man, those athletic things you're talking about, you don't want Dewey Wingard having to play a slot receiver, man-to-man, every play. Now, he can do it every 2 or 3 plays because he's smart enough to figure out, I can do this and make him go somewhere and whatever. So if they're playing more zone, which they are, they're playing, like I said, quarter coverage, some cover 2, they're playing some cover 3, whatever it is. The combination of that allows a guy that may not be the best athlete, but he's smart and in the right spots, and he knows what he's doing in the zone, and he can pass things off, and he knows those kind of things. That's when a guy like that can play. So I think that in itself is a plus.
All right, so let's wrap it up with Trevor tomorrow night and the idea that he looks like he's starting to feel the vibe of this offense, what he can do, how the run game can help him, quicker decisions, quicker throws. He hasn't been the most accurate guy in training camp, but I feel like he's After a lousy practice on Tuesday, he came back and made some big plays. Parker Washington was in when Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't. He also had himself a hell of a practice. So what do you think about Trevor tomorrow night?
Well, first of all, I think his footwork has changed. It's not the same. And one of the things I noticed was, some guys are happy feet guys. Yeah. He was kind of a happy feet guy because he wasn't quite sure what was going on up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it looks to me like he's a little bit more get set quick and get rid of the ball, which is the quick passing game. And they're going to be using the quick passing game. So if your feet are set as soon as you get back in the drop,
right,
you can throw immediately. You can use your hips immediately and throw the ball. Now, it also looks like he's stepping up once everything is there and he's waiting for something to happen. Mm-hmm. He's stepping up. Well, if we can keep him off of there, I'm looking forward to him being able to be more accurate in all those things. Yeah. So to me, I'm looking forward to him tomorrow, just getting rid of the ball. Don't make any mistakes. Just line up, play football, run the football, do what you have to do, run a little play action, get some balls down the field a little bit, and let's take control here. Yeah, it's time for him to take control and just go and play football.
Yeah, it's the truth. 100%. We'll end on that. That's a great way to end it. Coach, you and I will be on XL Primetime later on, noon launch for XLP. Looking forward to a little more conversation with you, with Maddie, with Big Sirs. So thanks to all y'all for tuning into the stream show. We definitely appreciate it. And we will try and get back on schedule where we're cranking it up every Friday in the 10 o'clock hour right after Hayes and the Duval rundown right at 9:04. All right, Coach, we'll see you later on.
Yes, sir. We'll see you at prime time. Thanks.
All right, Ozzy, thanks to you. Thanks to Jake. We had a good time. We will talk to you on the radio dial.